Hi, everyone. Happy weekend. It's Saturday right now, and I hope that you've all kind of started your weekend with something good. Mine started off today, this morning. I went and I kickstarted my new dance program that am implementing for a local Parks and Recs district. I've titled it Creative Movement, and I'm working with children from the ages of 2 to 12. At the moment, we're thinking about expanding it further, but I'm implementing several dance classes throughout the week with that age range, and I think today was successful. And I really look forward to continuing on this journey, this new experience, which is really fun. So we covered this week music and sound, spectacle, the ground plan, and then we also talked about coordinating technical elements. And I think every week I learn something new, and I really enjoy all of these different chapters that we're covering. And I'm sure you're enjoying them too, because from what it seems like, I believe that, the theater arts or performing arts is we all have something in common. It's our passion. And so it's been so much fun to learn with you all, and then also just hear your perspectives on things. So thank you for that. This video element is quite interesting. It's kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone, and I appreciate that. And I also appreciate learning from all of you. So okay, so let's talk about music and sound real quick. I liked the note of trying not to leave sound rehearsals to the last minute, and that's something that I've experienced during last year's Christmas production. We did definitely leave the sound rehearsals to the very last minute, and we made it work. Like I keep saying, I mean, everything worked out beautifully in the end. The students had a great experience. The audience reacted well. But I do agree with that too, that it's really good to try to incorporate sound, whatever those elements may be, early on. Now, I should say that sound is anywhere from music to how you're going to project your voice. So I'm not talking about all of its elements. Of course, we covered sound in terms of how the actor is going to vocalize their lines and how they're going to sound, whether they're going to be worried or, melodic or whiny. Those things are just decisions that we made very early on. But if we're talking about sound rehearsals that involve sound effects and maybe a live band and so on, those ones were left to the last week, the final week, and some of that was left to the final, like the day of showtime. So I definitely feel that the students should have access to that earlier on, so they get used to that and everything. And so that's lessons learned. That's something that I would recommend scheduling earlier. But if you're working with a creative team, your wishes might not be met. You are going to have to meet everybody where they're at, where their schedules are at, and then just go with it. Just roll with it and work with it and do your best. So we talked about spectacle and how it encompasses mood, meaning, audience engagement, and aesthetics. I really liked this chapter, and it brought me back to my last production, which was the Christmas play. I really loved envisioning the color palette and just how that's going to translate on the stage. And being that it was a Christmas play, I decided that reds and blacks and white and also a little touch of green would be a great palette to have. And so all of my cast incorporated those colors and costume. And then we had some, different props and things that incorporated that. We did a lot of plaids and solids, and that was a really it translated beautifully on stage with the proper lighting and everything. And then it takes me to scene 2, which was the flamenco scene, which I was able to incorporate flamenco dance choreography. We had a live band, so that was such a, there was singing involved on that stage. And that scene it could have fallen short had we not really placed emphasis on the aesthetics and those different elements of spectacle. So the flamenco scene incorporated flamenco skirts that were red and black and like really dramatic, and then some red roses to put on the hair, and it just, everything tied together so beautifully. And so that's something I really spent a lot of time and care on, and I really enjoyed the process. And then, let's see, we talked about the ground plan. And I liked this chapter too. I liked some of the very tangible worksheets that we can work with to try to create your floor plan or your ground plan. But one thing I'm going to mention here is Edward Braun's quote that was at the end of this chapter. It was something that resonated with me. I'm sure it resonates with you as artists. And so basically it's about how he was comparing how the true artist, I guess one could say, versus the amateur artist. If you look at the biography of a true artist, they're going to be it's going to be a trajectory of self-sabotage and self-criticism, whereas the amateur artist may not really have those self-sabotaging thoughts as much as somebody who's been just making artistry or artistic contribution in a way of it's like a way of life for them. So the amateur artist may be more inclined to be just pleased with themselves and not be so critical of their artistic direction or final product. And I'm hesitant to call myself a true artist, but I do relate to the self-criticism. And last year I was a editor with Sundance Institute in prep for the 2024 Sundance Film Festival, and forgive me, I don't remember her name, but there was a director. No, it was a writer, and one of her scripts got picked up, and she was just talking about her experience of that first moment that one of her scripts was taken seriously. And she said that all these years, since she's been in the business, she just any time she's out and like getting, accepting awards potentially, or in these different circles of other writers and directors and so on, she just has a nagging thought in her mind that one of these days everyone's going to find out that she's a fraud. And that's, I thought that was a really well put way of, well said in terms of the self-criticism that artists go through and self-doubt. And I think this is more common than not. And I think it's very good to hear other artists talk about this, that this is normal and it's just something that we have to try to power through. And I think that cripples and that paralyzes some from being great, because they stop themselves in their own tracks because of that self-sabotage. So it's a really good reminder, and I really appreciated that. And then, let's see, lastly, we talked about coordinating technical elements, and that's anywhere from artwork to costumes to tech. And I just was thinking about costumes and how sometimes when we're working with students, we don't need to buy costumes if it's say it's a play about students at school. Well, you can just probably pull costumes out of your students' closets and use those clothes as costumes. And one thing I will mention here is that from my experience, especially, I guess with middle schoolers, that's my experience in theater directing. Middle schoolers are going to be pretty disappointed if they don't get special costumes, even if it's just slacks and a shirt and your typical clothes for school. They want new. They want a new costume bought for them, or made specifically for them. They want new shoes from, head to toe. They want it all new. And so that was an interesting experience last year for both plays that I did last year for the spring and winter musicals, that I had some students that were extremely disappointed when they found out that they weren't going to get special costumes. And I really tried to list out for the parents, here's what I'm thinking. And these are the colors that I'm interested in. And here are the types of pieces of clothing that I'm interested in seeing from your child. And here are the big no-nos, like not way too short of skirts or whatever. And so through that process, I learned that some of the students are, I asked them, bring at least 3 different outfits. Bring them, and we're going to review them, we're going to talk about them. I might have you try them on to show me, and so on and so forth. And so what I've found through that process is that some students are going to show up with exactly what you've asked them. They're just completely fine with the decisions that I'm making as their teacher and director. And then there's going to be some students that might want to try to manipulate, I hate using that word, but the situation, they'll come up with, smart strategies to try to see if you'll cave and just purchase something for them. So I had some students come with one outfit idea that did not fit the scope whatsoever. And then when I would just ask, okay, do you have this in your closet? Do you have this, or do you have this, or do you have that? No, I would just be like no, I don't. No, when I've seen them wearing at school those particular pieces, it's like a good test. Throw out pieces of clothing you really know they have. No, I don't have that. So at that point, what I did was just reach out again directly to the parents, let them know I'm so flexible. I don't want you going out and buying something. I'll meet you where you're at. So here's my parameters. But if you have something kind of even outside of that a little bit, I'd like to see it. And I'm willing to work with you. And so we did all come to a consensus eventually. But really, some of the students are going to try to find ways of seeing if you'll just go ahead and make a purchase of a costume. So that's just my experience that I wanted to end this video on. And I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and happy Super Bowl Sunday if you participate in that. So, okay. Until next week. Bye.